Well, hey, church, it's Pastor Luke here with another episode of First Look, in which I invite you into the first step of my sermon preparation process by looking at the text that I'll be preaching. And again, this is before any commentaries, this is just me sitting with the scriptures and just thinking through it, talking it out with you, and praying over this passage that the Spirit of God would incline my heart and my mind to first and foremost what the text is all about, but then secondarily how this text needs to be delivered to the people of North Park in such a way that they are firmly rooted in the scriptures and stirred up to love and good deeds and ministered to by the living and active scriptures. So, with that here, let me go ahead and read our text for this upcoming Sunday, Psalm 134. It says this: "Come, bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord, who stand by night in the house of the Lord. Lift up your hands to the holy place and bless the Lord. May the Lord bless you from Zion, he who made heaven and earth." Well, this is our third week in a row in being in a short psalm that's only three verses long. One of the things I like to do first is I like to look at some cross references, just to get a little bit of a gauge of some of the interconnections between my passage and other texts and verses of Scripture. So this one is just a reference to Psalm 120 right there, the M. And so let's look at N. We actually have a lot. So this is you who stand by night in the house of the Lord. Deuteronomy 10:8 says, "At that time the Lord set apart the tribe of Levi to carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord, to minister to him, and to bless in his name to this day." Okay. Then we also have Deuteronomy 18:7, "And ministers in the name of the Lord his God, like all his fellow Levites who stand to minister there before the Lord." Okay. And we have 1 Chronicles 23:30 that says, "And they were to stand every morning thanking and praising the Lord, and likewise at evening." All right, I think we got 2 Chronicles 29:11, "My sons, do not now be negligent, for the Lord has chosen you to stand in his presence, to minister to him, and to be his ministers, and to make offerings to him." And then we have one more, 35:5, "And stand in the holy place according to the groupings of the fathers' houses of your brothers, the lay people, and according to the division of the Levites by father's household." All right, so we see a lot of references there to the role of the Levites and the priesthood to stand as attendants and ministers in the temple or tabernacle if you're pre-temple time. And then let's look at the by night there in the O. Now, 1 Chronicles 9:33. "Now these, the singers, the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites, were in the chambers of the temple, free from other service, for they were on duty day and night." Okay, so we have that, and then we have Leviticus 8:35. "At the entrance of the tent of meeting," the tabernacle there, "you shall remain day and night for 7 days, performing what the Lord has charged, so that you do not die, for so I have been commanded." Okay. Lift up your hands. We got Psalm 28:2. "Hear the voice of my pleas for mercy when I cry to you for help, when I lift up my hands toward your most holy sanctuary." Okay. We have Psalm 63:2, reference to the holy place. "So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory." All right. Now may the Lord bless you. Number 624. "The Lord bless you and keep you." That's the Aaronic blessing. We have 7 from Zion, 128:5 here, Psalm 128:5. "The Lord bless you from Zion. May you see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life." And then we got one more down here. "He who made heaven and earth," in reference to Psalm 115:15. "May you be blessed by the Lord who made heaven and earth." So those are good. Those are some good passages of Scripture to just have upon our minds as we're looking at the passage that we have in front of us. Now let's go ahead and pop over to the page that I'll be kind of marking up here. So I do this every time. And repetition is really important because repetition forms habits. And so I don't do this to be unnecessarily redundant. I do this so that it is second nature to always take note of the context. This is a song of ascents, and I hope by now, towards the end of our journey through this collection of Psalms, that we are well versed on what this means. But we're going to write it out anyway. These are the songs sung by Israelites journeying to Jerusalem for festival worship. Again, we had 3 festivals that required a pilgrimage to Jerusalem for worship and offering, and so these 3 occasions throughout the year would be traveled typically by people in groups to caravan. It was just really practical to do that, to share resources, to help each other out, also to protect from thieves and bandits and things like that. And so they journey together, and as they would journey, they would sing these songs, these hymns, as they prepared their hearts and their minds to worship Yahweh, the covenant God, who has saved them and rescued them and promised them to be his people. So we got that in our minds, and now let's look at the text. Let's start out with the first verse. Again, I removed the verse numbers because I want to look more at the text than the divisions that were kind of added in later on by the church. Verses are really helpful, chapters are really helpful, but I like just seeing the structure of the text itself without some of those other distractions. So here we go, the very first word, come. What do we notice about this? We notice that this is a command. This is a command, and we can verify. We can verify this by going back to my Bible software here, and I'll just go ahead and click on the word bless, come bless. That's 2 words in our English, but it's really 1 word in the Hebrew. The come bless is really 1 verb that is, you can see right there, if you look under the morph, it says it's a verb, a PL verb, which is an imperative, a second person imperative, and notice also that it's plural. Okay, so this means you all come bless. And so we can see from the Hebrew just understanding of this word that this is a command to you all, a command that is imperative and plural. This is not you singular, like we often maybe think of in a more individualistic culture as an imperative plural. You all come bless the Lord. Okay, so we can look at this as a command, maybe in the sense of the law or a legal requirement, but I don't think that's the essence of this passage. So let me just mark it down, though. This could be a legal / law command. But again, I don't think that's the case. So I'm going to draw a line through what I think this is more. I think this is an invitation. come be a part of this. Invitation, and I would even say an invitation to worship. That's probably the better way to understand this imperative. Come partake in this. This is what you were created for. You were designed for this. Created to do this. Immediately, just what's popping up into my head right now is the Westminster Shorter Catechism. This is what the first question in this is, what is the chief end of man? And the answer is to glorify God and enjoy him forever. So I'm just going to mark that down there. This is a Westminster Shorter Catechism. What is chief end of man? To glorify God and enjoy him forever. There we go. All right. So this is an invitation to do what you were designed to do. Invitation to do what you were created for. And then, you know what? I just wrote the word created right there. And what I'm thinking about is down here, he who made heaven and earth. He is the creator. He's the one who created you and me. And so doing what we were created for is the appropriate response to our creator. That's just a little connection again. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with that, but I just like making these notes and just making some links happen in my head. All right, we've gotten one word in, 2 words. So this is one word in the Hebrew right here. Come bless, a commanding bless, the Lord. And we know that this is Yahweh right here. The covenant God of Israel. The I am who I am from the burning bush. Now, here we go. We find the audience. So I guess also what I'm noticing here is that we have different groups. We have group 1. Group 1 is the singers of this. Singers. The ones who are singing this invitation. And again, we'll have to look into that, investigate that a little bit more. But the ones who are calling out that invitation to come bless the Lord, there's that group, and then there's the second group, all you servants of the Lord. So group 2, who stand by the night in the house of the Lord. Group 2, that's the servants of the Lord. Okay, so there we go. We have those 2 groups. And what do we know about group 2 here? By looking in our text, we know that they are servants or attendants of the Lord, and their location is going to be really key into understanding them. They are standing by night, and they are in the house of the Lord. So a couple things we know is that the house of the Lord is a reference to tabernacle / temple. Okay. Depending on when this is written. Now, last week we looked at Psalm 131 that says a song of ascents of David. This one does not say a song of ascents of David. Could it be David? Could be. It's not indicated, and so we have less clarity on who this this author is. This could also be the sons of Korah, who were known to be songwriters as well. We just don't know. So we don't want to go too far on drawing conclusions about the author when it's not clear and evident in the text. But these servants right here, they are the attendants of the tabernacle, temple, probably in the holy place, likely in the holy place where a lot of the work of the priesthood would happen, either in the courts where the offerings were happening, or in the holy place where they would maybe keep incense or things like that going, just care for some of the different duties and responsibilities of taking care of the tabernacle. This is probably not sacrifice since it's at night. And so this is probably the priests who were on duty on the night shift to keep the constant, continual 24/7 temple care going that was especially important during these festivals. So they're the ones who are being exhorted, being invited. It's these guys. And there's a command here to bless the Lord. And then we get a second command to lift up their hands in the holy place. Here we go, holy place. So that gives us more indication and clarity right here. They're in the holy place, and they're to lift up their hands in the holy place. Okay. So I'm going to get a new color going here just to make some notes. So commands. Okay. Bless the Lord. Lift hands. And then we have bless the Lord again a second time, which in a short 3-verse psalm, the repetition is going to be really key and important to just grabbing what this thing's really all about. And when we grab the essence of the psalm as a whole, then we know how to dive in a little more deeply and how to explore other supporting passages and other texts of Scripture that we can bring in as cross-references and explanatory passages. And then we looked at some of them that were noted in my Bible software, but we'll explore others just as maybe just connections kind of form in my own brain as I chew on this throughout the week here. Okay, so we have command, come bless. Okay, we have command, lift hands, and bless. But what's key here is that these are linked together. And what's verse 2? It's the second stanza here. Lift up your hands to the holy place, and that's what links it right there, and bless the Lord. As you're lifting up your hands, raise your hands and bless the Lord. So there's connection. So really, all three of these commands are carrying the idea of worship. All right. Now, okay. Here's something just thinking through here, and I'm going to get another color going to just make another classification of connections here. Nighttime, standing at night, and lifting hands. And when I think about that, I'm just going to draw right here to make this connection. When I think about nighttime, I think tired. I think lonely. If you're alone, I mean, I don't know how many priests would be on the night shift duty. I don't know if there's just one that kind of attended to certain things, or if there were a couple of them. I'm not sure. That's something I'll see if I come across anything in the commentaries that I look at. But I would think tired, night shift, third shift, I've done it a couple times in my life. And I don't know that you ever fully adjust to night shift. But I would think, especially for the people of Israel, where uh, night shift was just not a thing very often because candles were expensive. They're precious. You don't have they're just a valuable resource. So to keep a light burning all night long, that's just it just doesn't happen very often. It doesn't give off a ton of light, so there's not even a ton that you can do, and it's just part of the more natural rhythm of life thousands of years ago to do things during the day. And so if you're not fully acclimated to doing a night shift, if it's more of a swing shift rotation type thing, then your body's probably going to be tired. I think that what you do is probably I don't want to necessarily use the word boring, but maybe just routine. Maybe it's you just have one job, and it's just to make sure that there's enough wax here or enough whatever it is. You're just kind of maintaining. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Maintain things. Maintain and maintenance type. And so that's what I think about with night. That's what I think about night. And then when I think about lifting hands, I think you might need encouragement. Oh, running out of space. I'll understand that. Need encouragement when you're late at night to have passion and zeal, to have a heart of worship in the night watches. Heart of worship in the night watches. Okay. So we'll just make those notes there, kind of that connection there. We'll explore it a little bit more at another time. So then we have, let's go ahead and make sure that we're highlighting all the times that we see bless, because that's just a good practice there to highlight repeated words. Okay. And okay, great. Come bless the Lord, and then may the Lord bless you from Zion. So Zion, again, let me just put it there. This is, yes, Jerusalem, but often has heavenly a heavenly connotation that goes along with it. It's kind of a prophetic motif that runs throughout the prophets, where Zion is where the Lord is. And yes, he is in the temple and the Holy of Holies with his Shekinah glory presence there, but he is also in his heavenly throne room as well, where the presence of God is. Okay. So may the Lord bless you from where he is, where he's seated, from his throne room of power and authority and sovereignty, where he is worshipped. May he pour forth, may he overflow in blessing upon you. He is the one who made heaven and earth. And so we just want to look at this, and whenever you see heaven and earth kind of coupled together, it's always you should always investigate creation wisdom, creation theme. You always want to go to creation creation design / theme. You want to return to Genesis 1 and 2, Edenic thinking. It's not always like that. Sometimes it's more of a trajectory forward to new heavens and new earth, which is Eden restored and expanded upon the new heavens and new earth. But we just want to make sure that our brains are making that kind of mental connection. This is the God who spoke, and all things came into existence. And so when he created heaven and earth, how did he create it? He created with his word. Okay. He created ex nihilo is the Latin, which is out of nothing. He had no raw utensils, no raw materials that he was working with. He had nothing, and he spoke, and all things came into existence. We also see in Genesis 1 that he took, he crafted order and goodness from the Hebrews tohu vavohu, in there from what was formless and void. So those are some things that we just kind of think about when we think about God making heaven and earth. We want to think, how did he make it? What do we know about his making of heaven and earth? Well, it was out of nothing. He made everything. We see his power, his sovereignty. We see that he spoke, and it was his word. And so we see that the words of God are powerful and life-giving. I'm going to write that down. The word powerful / life-giving. So when he speaks, he creates, and then we see that his process for making all things, making heaven and earth, was taking the world was formless and void, and there was darkness, and he crafts it and he shapes it in a way that's orderly, and at the end of every day, it's good. It's good. So that's what I'm thinking. Now I'm looking at this first one here that I wrote down, of created with his word, which is life-giving. And what's the request here? That God would bless you. And so the same word that brought life in the garden, may God bring life into your world in a fuller sense, in the brokenness of creation, after the journey. The journey is a journey, again, from being wherever home is outside of God's dwelling, and in a land that's not our own land. We saw that in Psalm 120, and it's this journey forward in faith as God's people to this quote unquote heavenly destination, where heaven meets earth, where the presence of God dwells and abides with humanity. And there, God made that place where your presence is. May it bring blessing. May you speak blessing in a way that is powerful in my life, life-giving in my way, and we would think life-giving to our very souls, and life in my soul and my spirit, because that's the God that's who you are. That's who you are. That is who God is and what he does. He blesses and he creates. Okay. Oh, that's good. All right. That's good. The last thing that I think I note here is this. what we see is how blessing functions in this text. You have verse 1. There's the command to bless the Lord. You have verse 2, where right there in the green highlight, lift your hands to the holy place and bless the Lord. And then in verse 3, you have a pivot where now you bless the Lord, and the Lord bless you. And so Lord bless you. Okay, so we have this shift that happens right here, where there's a pivot, and so we just want to maybe ask the question here. God's blessing and the relationship between God's blessing us and our blessing Him. Now, obviously, I think we would all know just intuitively that the way we bless God and the way God blesses us is not equal. It is not the same thing. When we bless God, that's the idea of praising Him, lifting up His name, exalting who He is, and the Lord's blessing of us is really a manifold word that has just a number of implications. And so we're going to want to investigate that some more. So all that said, I think we've got a good working start here to just start kind of chewing on this. Again, with 3 verses, it's pretty easy to memorize throughout the week, and I usually do that with these shorter passages, try to memorize them so I can just be waiting for my coffee and thinking about this stuff, just kind of have it mulling over, chewing on it in my mind throughout the week. But I think we got a lot of really good thoughts to begin with here. So I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope that this gets you excited about Sunday as we look at how this passage in particular might end up being shaped and molded to be an encouragement and exhortation to us at North Park. Sermons are not just me preaching to you. Sermons are me preaching to myself and saying, Lord, I want to receive this passage into my life. And as I do that, God, I want it to overflow from me into the lives of the people at North Park. So be praying for this. Get excited about this. Think over. See what connections you come over as you sit with this passage. And goodness, I just can't wait. Can't wait for Sunday. Sunday was yesterday. And it's Monday, but goodness, I just get really excited for Sunday again really quickly. So God bless you, and I look forward to when we gather together again.